Well, good afternoon, my YouTube friends. It's Margaret from M.E.s Orchids, and had a couple of surprises today. Let's see if I can. There you are. Can you see that now? Just I'll bring my finger up here. Let's have a look if I can get my finger in the right direction. There we go. That little, I think it's a flower inflorescence developing. I don't know, because this is the first time I've ever owned a Kingianum, and that's just coming out of the side there. And if we go round a little bit further here, if you remember the other day, I showed you this new growth which starts there and it comes up, and let's just turn around here, and she's grown to this height already. So again, that's absolutely come on leaps and bounds this week. Now where's the other one I wanted to show you? Oh, here we go. Let's just turn around, and if I can just tuck under there, whether I'm in there, she's got another new growth there. Can you see that? So she's coming on leaps and bounds, this one is. And as you know, she's planted in lava rock. So what I did on Wednesday, it was a glorious, absolutely glorious day on Wednesday. And I had a delivery of, let me just see if I can just tuck this into one side so I can bring this packet over here. There we go. And fish, blood and bone. Now let's turn it round. And those are the elements, the NPK ingredients and how they work. So we've got nitrogen there, we've got the roots, and we've got the potassium for fruits and flowers. Now I remember growing up in the 50s when I was a little girl, and my dad used to always put this kind of fertiliser, fish, blood and bone, always put it on the garden. He used to have some absolutely gorgeous sweet peas. In actual fact, sweet peas are my favourite flower. And he used to grow vegetables, he used to grow fruit, he used to love his gooseberries. And so he used to sprinkle that all over the garden. Now, it is a dry mixture, and you are supposed to sprinkle it around the roots, around the plant, and then as it's watered, it absorbs the nutrients. They go down into the ground, and the roots then take up all those nutrients. But what I did on Wednesday, because this is planted in lava rock, and it has a reservoir at the bottom, I sprinkled some of the fertiliser just on top of the lava rock. But then what I did then was I actually flooded all this container with rainwater, and which had warmed with some boiled water because it would have been too cold. And I just completely flooded this container and tipped the container from side to side to allow it to absorb as much of that nutrient. I think I left it about an hour, and then I just, there's a bung at the bottom. I opened the bung and allowed some of that fertilised water to seep away. It is still quite heavy, and I've still got, you can see there by the roots that are hydrated, there's still water at the bottom, but it's not any detriment to the plant, it's not flooding it, but I shan't need to water that. I can always tell with this container. I pick it up and it's as light as a feather, and I know then that it needs watering. So this is then, I had that that new fertiliser, and I just want to see how this responds to being fertilised in that type of fertiliser. As you know, I already use a compound of calcium in that format where you sprinkle it on or you sprinkle it into water, and that works well for me. So let me just put her down here, and sorry about that. Let's bring this one over. Now I found one somewhere. Let me just have a look if I can find it. You have to bear with me because what I'm looking for. Can you see the stained leaves at the back? Well, today also, I've rubbed her down, just in case she's still got a little bit of spider mite. I'm not sure whether she has. Let me just see where I can find that. Oh, there we go. Now I'm using my tablet now, so which is not the same as the camera, so I don't know whether you're going to see that little tiny flower there. Well, it's just the starter one, I believe. And remember a few weeks ago, this one had these leaves that, to all intents and purposes, looked as though it had got spider mite. And it could well have, and the reason I'm saying it could well have is because also today this was on Wednesday. I'll show you what I've had to do today. So if I go down here, this is the Dendrobium williamsii. Now this is only a little tiny plant, you can see by my fingers the size of her. And I think her leaves are clear now. She had some of this mottled effect on her leaves. And I was a little bit anxious, so what I did, I did a solution of Listerine mouthwash, some baby oil and some washing up liquid into a little tiny container, and with cotton wool and also Q-tips, I cleaned this one completely out. I took all the sheathing off down here. I wiped all the little tiny pseudobulbs, and if I bring it down here on my knee, see, that's one new growth there, and I even went into there with a little Q-tip. Now, I don't know whether you can see behind the other little tiny growth. I've not watered today, she does need watering, but this one's doing fine now. So it's all been cleared, and hopefully, if it was spider mite, it just seems funny, doesn't it, that I've had this mottling effect on some of the leaves, and not everyone has had this this mottling effect. Let me put her back up there, and push this one further back, and that'll allow me to get up. And what I want to do now is just to, sorry about that, I just want to bring this big plant down here, and just bear with me because I'm going to have to move one of these others now because I want this plate. And let's bring her down. This is my big Miltassia. And I took this one downstairs today to give it a good water and a good check over, because this one sits actually above the little dendrobium. And you see all the staining in there. And you see it all in there. And she's got another leaf here. And the staining in there as well. And I really wasn't too worried. I mean, I'd seen that staining before. But then I wiped the leaf this morning, this one at the back here. After I'd done the dendrobium on Wednesday, I was a little bit conscious of the fact that I better just check some of these others. And can you see how soft my hands are, and it's still on there? So I've completely cleaned this one, and the leaves go very tight down in here. So I had to get the Q-tip down in there. I've done all the pseudo bulbs, that's lovely and soft with the oil. Done all these bulbs. That's the other big one. I've gone inside them. And I definitely think it was spider mite, well, whatever it was, when I'd wiped them down, initially before I did them with the treatment, they were like little speckled bits of red. And I'm sure that's a sign of spider mite. And this is a new growth here. Can you see how nice this growth is? So I've just gone up with a Q-tip and gently did that new growth. I've gone inside all these little sheaths here, wiped her all down, and then she's been watered and fed. So hopefully, if it is spider mite, at least I will have cleared them. So I'm going to gently now get up and try and just put this big plant back. So just bear with me a minute. And I'll just get another couple of plants down. This one's inside another container, so I'll bring the container down. Actually, I need to just move this little plate out of the way now. There we go. And hopefully, there we go. Now, this is just a little, I don't want to get too close and blur this is a little no ID phalaenopsis. And she's been in bloom a few weeks now. She sits on this top shelf. I think I have actually shown her before. She's not dropped any buds at all. And she's a lovely little thing. And now this is a mini. I know I'm close up, and so you know you're getting a close-up view of her, but she is quite big for a mini. I mean, compared to the full-size phalaenopsis, I suppose she isn't that big, but she is quite big for a mini. She's doing very well, and she's, like I say, she sits up there on that top shelf. So I'm going to stretch up now, and I just want to bring this other plant down to show you. Just bear with me a minute. That's the temperature at the moment, and that's the humidity. Although today the humidity was low and I've had to put it up, and the temperature was down to 18 this morning. what you can hear rattling is I'm sat on this little bench and there's a dish in there. So if you remember this one, this is one of the there we go, one of the Aldi Phalaenopsis, and I cut the main inflorescence there, and that one had already branched out, but it started to wither back, so I've cut that this morning. And this other little this other little secondary branch has got these nice buds developing, so hopefully that one will last a little bit longer. Now I'm going to just put her over here on this plate, which with a bit of luck, there we go, there, she's just sat there. And just a couple more things I wanted to show you. So this is the Dendrobium, which could be Spring Dreamer pollen, and I think I've got about 8 blooms on here. The only thing is these leaves come across and they rest on top of the flowers. I do feel sorry because the flowers then get scrunched together. But she smells lovely. There we go. And well worth, I believe, a close-up every time I do a video. Get as much enjoyment as you can out of your blooms. We've waited all winter, and let me just bring this other little tray of, let me put that over there. Let me just bring this other little tray now. I'll have to be careful because I'm holding my tablet now, and normally I do it with my camera, so just hold on. I'm going to have to come and take you with me so I don't drop this tray. Knowing my luck. Right, here we are. And this is the one with the, how's it going to focus for us? See if it will. There we go. Those little tiny flowers, flower buds, are now starting to grow, and each individual one will open up into a gorgeous little bloom. Now, because they're so tiny, I don't know whether the tablet's allowing me to go in that close without it blurring. I do apologise if I'm blurring. These have been watered and fed today. There's another one, that's, oops, not that one. Can you see? That's got little buds coming. Some of them have got buds and some of them have got new growths. And there we go, it's focusing now. And like I say, these are only very small. If you see my fingers, they're not very big canes. So I'm not sure whether, there we go, whether these are going to be little tiny flowers like, let me just bring this label up, Pixie Charm, or whether they're going to be Stardust Firebird. we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed, and whatever they will be, they'll be greatly appreciated, I tell you. So things are moving very rapidly in the grow room, to such an extent that I've had to have the windows open this week because it's been that sunny and the temperatures have shot up. So just sorry about that, I'm wobbling because I just want to stretch over here and just there we go. I just wanted to bring this Phalaenopsis, this is the only one that I have in what we call water culture. And let's move back into holding this with my left hand. There we go. So she has some lovely roots, and she's got some new roots developing. You can see, just probably going to blur your vision now. Some new roots developing there. She's got secondary branches coming off the main ones for the roots, like over there, and those are the big roots. So I introduce food and water, but I don't drown her. I just let some water trickle down, and then when that's all dried up, I introduce some more water. And if you remember the big Phalaenopsis I had last year, that had got the blooms, the white blooms, and they'd been in flower from October 2016. Well, I cut the inflorescence back above a node, and I noticed this week when I got her down to water, she's got a new leaf developing, and then she's got a new little flower bud developing from that node. So I was really chuffed about that, even though she stopped flowering and I've cut her back. She's still attempting now to send another flower inflorescence back out. And let's just stand up and there we go. There we go. So this is the Phalaenopsis tetraspis. There. She'll be given some water and food tomorrow. There we go, that's a Holcoglossum. And she's doing well. You'll notice the windows, because we're only single glazed here in Crewe, and with we've gone up to 72 humidity now, and it's actually gone a lot brighter outside, so I shall be opening that window. If I can just manoeuvre myself round here without knocking everything over. I'm standing on this tray with these plants here. I don't know whether the light's going to be any good here, but those are the big frags, and I check the leaves just to make sure they're not warm, and give them plenty of water. Those are my other frags. So everything is doing wonderful. Just bring her down the tablet. These are some of the no ID Phalaenopsis ones, and that's my Pathiopedilum there, bellatum. Now I do have to confess, let me sit down and let me just move this Phalaenopsis out of the way. Oops, sorry about that. There we go. Now that's the That's the other Phragmipedium. That's Mary Bess. She's doing lovely, isn't she? That's the other Phragmipedium. And she's doing lovely. She's got